All right, folks at home, we're all yepped up here. This is King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, the Great Pendragon Campaign, episode 47. It's been a crushing day for me. I've spent the last week playing Terra Invicta and avoiding doing anything about streaming. And I was really on a roll, and then I got demolished today. Like, it was bad. Like, I lost 100% of my economy in the game, and I'm like, well, that's it. Because I'm paying for my fleet, I have so little resources, I can't even build a mine to get more resources. I'm absolutely screwed. The aliens have won. So I'm going to have to roll back my save like 5+ hours, maybe even more, to get to a point where I'm not so screwed. That is the pain of Terra Invicta, and I may even be at a point where it's like you have to just make a whole new save and plan better. I don't know, but I've cast so much of my week into this, and now I'm crushed. So I will take it out on the players here during today's episode of King Arthur Pendragon. You like that one, Spoon, huh?
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening this year. It is the year 503. Countess Ellen's court is being held at Sarum. The following people may be found as guests this year: Kendric, son of Cerdic of Wessex; Duke Ulfius's son, Sir Ufo; Sir Lane of Lindsey, Banneret of Lincoln; a herald from King Nantiliode, who is in fact Sir Alain de Carlion; the Earl of Yagant, Earl Tegfon, but these names, it's killing me, man. Sir Paul is in attendance. Prince Kendric of Wessex, Atheling Esquire of the East Saxons, and Prince Selin of Sussex were all supposed to show up today, but none of them have. And we open on a scene of the table for the feast is not in the center of the room as it should be. Instead, we can see that bright banners have been placed around the room, and the nobility and hangers-on have been gathered underneath 3 colored banners of green, red, and blue. And there is an almost circus atmosphere. And I mean circus is in the ancient Roman circus, not the modern-day 3-ring circus. Feeling going on with an announcer who happens to be a part of... Oh, you raised your hand?
I had a question, sorry,
yes.
before you get too far. So you rattle off a whole bunch of names there, and then you sort of ended with, and such and such.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not here.
Yes.
Paul, I need a semicolon, like who is here and who is not here.
Semicolon after Sir Paul. The 3 Saxon princes are not in attendance.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, Kendric is, the other 2 are not. They were supposed to show up, and they did not.
Okay.
You are correct. I did ramble on about that. You can see that, Glimo, your troop has set up this situation. Now, the new leader of the troop died. After the old leader of the troop died, they've also gone through 2 more leaders, and you are now have a new leader. His name is Simon Chicory. Now, his name is just Simon, and they just call him Simon Chicory because he has a lot of chicory. He just really likes it for some reason.
Okie dokie.
All right, so he is putting on this particular event, and he is right now shouting you out. He says, I am sponsored, of course, by the limitless, generous, intelligent, loyal, and most romantic of knights, a man who would die for his brothers. Yes, I speak of the infallible, the unfallen. And then there's like a hype moment. I guess he's aura farming as he's like, Sir Kyned! I am here with my troop today to perform a festival of ancient times. Those of you who are gathered under the Thracian green, your champion today, the Green Man of Thrace. And a guy comes out in a green toga and starts doing poses like, the Those of you gathered under the red banner of Sparta, your wrestler. And another dude comes out who's in a different looking toga and does different poses, but looks almost exactly the same. And he continues to list off new wrestlers as you become aware that today's episode, your feast is sponsored by Medieval Times, but it's called Ancient Times because you're in the Medieval Times. Beside you, Kyned, you hear the non-stop burble of the complaints of physician Quintus of Ilchin, who you might remember is Roman, and it's just like all of the places they're listing are Grecian in nature. This has absolutely nothing to do with Rome. Oh my good, and those togas are from 2 different eras. They're hundreds of years apart. This is a travesty. It's not historically accurate at all. Sir Kyned, I was hoping to get a moment of your time before the festivities truly kicked off.
Well, I'm sorry. My junglers need me.
No, sir, please, might I just a moment of your time? A moment of your time. I must issue you an apology.
Very well. What apology?
Yes, sir. I recently said something at public to the court, and I must apologize to you here publicly and beg your forgiveness with all humility and humbleness. I spoke ill of you, and it was wrong to do so. You are a knight and a nobleman, and what I said was with loose tongue and quick tongue and loose mind, I should say.
I very much appreciate the gesture, sir, and I hope you enjoy the feast, despite the anachronisms of my troop.
Some people have no respect for history, and he walks off in a huff. You can see that people are passing around like bread and flagons of wine and water. There's a lot of olive oil going around, but also hummus for some reason. Sorry. They're passing around mashed chickpeas with tahini seasoning. I don't know when it officially gets called hummus. All right, so you can meet with any of the people in attendance. Of course, Ellen is here, Kendric, Sir Ufo, Lane of Lindsay, Sir Elaine de Carlion, who it said is supposed to be mustering with his cousin or his vassal king, King Nantaleon. They have some sort of relationship that the realm comments upon but isn't super clear.
Sorry, you ahead.
I was going to say, I think Kendric is going to go talk to Sir Elaine, since that is, he is the knight, he's the sire of my
that you have put
heir.
a word with, yeah.
Yes.
Sir Elaine recognizes you while walking up and disentangles himself from a hanger-on, someone who is attending him, and he reaches out to give you a forearm clasp.
Kendric will clasp that forearm.
So Kendric, I understand that your service this year you will spend with us.
Indeed.
It will be
Hopefully
good to
with,
have you on the front lines of battle. You understand that some manner of loyalty and understanding of your skills needed to be established with King
course, yes.
Nantaleon.
You must test a sword before you trust it in battle.
Indeed. And the task given to you is no small matter.
Indeed.
Making
I ride
sure
in
that the
van.
camp followers do not overrun the local lands is of prime importance to keeping order.
Indeed. How are things looking for this year?
I was hoping to muster more knights. I think things are looking very positive. My king is handily ready to make alliances and unify, I would say, the country. We are without a high king, and we require one, and I see no better man to do it than King Nantaleon. And he certainly seems to have the troops and the diplomatic power behind him to make it happen.
I would agree.
We were hoping that Duke Ulfius might back such a play, but he is a stubborn and toothsome man, I suppose.
I was just about to ask what position Duke Ulfius would take on the king.
Duke Ulfius will take no position.
Well, he is quite embattled, surrounded on, I think, 3 sides now.
Yes.
But
one must appreciate his defense of the city of London.
indeed. And should King Nanteliod continue to succeed, surely there will be no way that the Duke can deny him.
Well, I have heard you have put down a traitorous duke yourself, so you must understand that there are plenty of ways a duke may defy a king. Even a high king.
That is true. I think Kendric kind of side eye looks over towards. Is you said UFO is here?
Yes, Sir Ufo.
Yeah, side eyes looks over to Sir UFO.
All right, so you catch Ufo. Ufo is squaring up with Kendric, and Ufo's like, "Brah, dost thou ken who my progenitor is?" And Kendric turns around and is just like, "What is that magnificent smell of sandalwood and leather? My good man, have you taken a bath before coming here? Bro, thou recognized me. Game recognized game in the county of Salisbury. I am here to attend my wife, the Lady Jenna." Kendric's like, "Respect. I am here myself to find a wife." Kendric's like, Ufo's like, "Oh shit, bro." And you get the feeling that even though these two could be bitter enemies and rivals, they have formed an unusual friendship in the course of 30 seconds.
For sure. They're both frat boys, so it makes sense.
But they're different kinds of frat boys. You know, they have a different subclass.
Yeah, well, obviously they're from different fraternities as well.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Sir Elaine looks away from that to look back at you. He looks thoroughly mystified and confused as to what has happened.
I think Kendric, just has a confused look on his face as to what just transpired between them.
The lands of Salisbury can be strange indeed, but these are peaceful times that the rest of the realm has not seen. I might hope that the Countess should offer her word and bond to King Nanteliod. Such prosperity could be shared with the whole realm when peace comes.
Indeed, I shall advise her of the wisdom of allying with your king.
At that moment, someone comes up and jogs your elbow, and you can see that it is like a page messenger boy with a scroll for you.
Mm-hmm.
My
I'll take
lord,
it.
a message from you from Sir Paul.
Very well.
That's P-A-W-L, not P-A-U-L.
Yes, I'm familiar with Sir Paul.
Well, there's multiple Pauls here today.
Oh, is this Sir Paul that serves Baron Huel? Or?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
It's just that
familiar
there's
with that
multiple
one.
P-A-U-Ls here today.
Ah, I see.
It's a very common name. Don't get me started on John or Mark. There's multiple Simons here as well.
Yes, of course. Kendric takes the scroll from him and reads it.
So this is a message from Sir Paul. He indicates that he has been subcontracted by Sir Hellifer, who is the architect of your castle. So Hellifer has he has written very loftily about the preparatory work that Baron Wheel has done.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's at the point where they're going to be digging deep foundations, laying in the building plans, and pre-staging and drying all of the wood that would be needed. and that Sir Paul is a fully capable individual to handle that part, while Sir Hellifer returns to London in order to finish up some business.
Yeah, because he's got some work to do, doesn't he?
I have nothing to say to that.
He's ditched the job and is subcontracting it out to somebody for less money.
He
probably
indicates that he will be back soon, just
and
as soon as
expects
his
payment in
business
full.
is settled.
Yeah, of course he will. Okay.
The fully capable hands of Sir Paul, whose capabilities you yourself must know from personal experience.
I do.
A trusted friend. And if you can trust Sir Hellifer, you can definitely trust Sir Paul.
Okay. And I think Kendric will spend a little bit more time talking to Elaine, but it's just like pleasantries and asking about his son and how he's doing, and so.
Anyone else have someone they'd like to talk to?
I would like to talk to UFO, if no one else minds.
All right, you walk over to UFO. He has just gotten done exchanging contact information with Kendric, making sure that their messenger pigeons can reach each other. UFO's like, "Oh, bro, the most elder sage of the castle has come to me."
Welcome back to Salisbury. How fare your father's campaigns?
He tries to give you like a weird handshake that starts with like a thing, but then turns into one of these. But like you don't know all those other parts. He's like, "Oh, sorry, bro. That's just how we do it in London nowadays. My father's campaigns, they go well as long as you assume that the campaigns are the defense of the city of London."
I mean, he's fought the Saxons in multiple battlefields.
I mean, he's fought with the Saxons as well. You know, you have to do what you have to do in these times without a high king, you know. I'm just saying, once he's dead, maybe we should be considering naming a new high king from like another duke.
You don't support your father in that claim?
I said when he's dead.
Okay.
We should have a high king. And he should come from a noble stock and also control a large and powerful city.
No, I agree that Britain will be stronger once a high king can be found.
Sick, bro.
Is your visit here today purely conjugal, or did you come with other words or requests from your father?
Nice. Yes, I am here to bed my wife. I do have this to say, though. Words from my father. Yeah, bro. So, 2 Saxon kingdoms are mustering to attack. Kent and Essex are going to plunder and collect riches and glory. They will, of course, come up the Thames River. Sorry, I don't know how to say that. The Thames?
Thames.
The Thames.
The Thames?
The Thames.
I've heard it both ways. And perhaps try to attack London. We could use the forces of Salisbury to like stand by and help crush them. Have you considered sending knights and stuff?
I can discuss that with the Countess. Perhaps we can find forces to assist.
I was trying to talk to my wife about it, but she was like, "I don't discuss business with my mom. Like, these are her lands and she's the sole ruler of it." And I was like, "But babe," and she was like, "Honey bear, no."
Just to be clear, her brother is the sole ruler of these lands, but his mother is the regent.
I mean, when he's old enough and takes them, yeah, maybe. Her land's down, man. Hold on. Didn't you go to Ridichan just to get another woman claims on her lands? Can't you respect women more, bro?
I think you'll find
I thought you had something going on with her.
I think you'll find my respect for Ellen is famous.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I thought you guys were closer than that, bro. These are her lands. Listen, when I was a young boy, I grew up hearing stories about how you, like, gathered a council of knights before the Order of the Axe was even formed. You, like, gathered together the best knights of Salisbury and pledged to her before the entire county. And, like, everyone got down on their knees behind you and also pledged to her. And it was, like, super dramatic.
Yes, but I still need to make sure that her son is not forgotten.
Yeah. Obviously, the dude should be ruling, but he's not, like, old enough. He's just a little dude, man.
You don't
Yeah,
need to
like,
school
he's
me
my
on-
brother-in-law. He's, like, cool and shit, but, you know, he's like a little squire dude right now. I call him Squirt.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll learn respect eventually. Thank you for
What?
your time.
Bro, what just happened? Do you have anything you want to do?
We're going into the breach again. Are my informant buddies around?
Yes, of course. To
You can't
serve
roll a
Falcon.
third 20, right?
Oh, now you just cursed me. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Just
Oh,
funny's all the way
hey.
down.
16 out of 17.
All right, pretty
If
good.
I hadn't put
pretty
that
good.
extra point in, that would have been a crit.
Sir Falbred de Havillard is a little distant. He is less participating in the meeting this time and more extracting as much information as he can. He
And de
seems
Havillard is Orpheus's guy.
yes, he is
Yes.
trying to determine whether or not you guys are going to support Orpheus. And he seems pretty doubtful that you guys are going to step in. He doesn't think Salisbury's going to do it. And he also, by association, doesn't think Ridichan is going to step in to help either. He seems primarily concerned with also sending a network of spies and, I guess, spies, like emissaries, out to all the courts of the land to call up whatever favors he can to get knights in 1s and 2s or 10s, small groups, to come and defend London. Because this is the big push. Like, they're afraid. However, the representative from Pomatane is more than willing to help you out in regards to the big thing happening in the land beyond the push for London, which is King Nantaleod. And you have learned that, like, people who theoretically should be standing against him, most of the barons and, like, lesser kings are what they would call a petty king, like an alternative to a duke. In the north, everyone south of Lothian seems ready to bend the knee to Nantaleod. There's only like 1 or 2 big holdouts. Everyone else is ready to just like jump on the party train and name him not just king, but High King. The big sticker here is that Orpheus does not trust Nantaleod, and without him, he doesn't have the votes in the College of Legates to declare himself High King. But declaring yourself High King and being High King are 2 different things. And it sounds like Nantaleod is on the verge of being High King, functionally. One big summer push could absolutely crush things for him.
Okay.
Is there anything you wanted to put out in the world?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
I would like to get the rest of the Order of the Axe together and let them know what I've heard about Nantaleod, and Orpheus, so that we can strategize what we want to recommend to the Countess.
Okay.
So we huddle up.
Yep.
Works.
Are we including the NPC members in this meeting as well, or just the 3 of us?
I think that we can include, so Gwent, maybe
Gwen,
Titania.
Seath,
Irwin,
Erwin.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember her name.
Hayden.
Yes, Hayden is here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Titania's not part of the Order of the Axe, is she?
No.
Yes, she hasn't. She declined.
That's right.
So
In the
can you
background, by the way, there's definitely like a three-way wrestling match going on. And everybody's like holding up big turkey legs. Oh, sorry, no, turkeys are from America. They're holding up big beef shanks or something. I don't know.
Someone had to let the director know you don't put exciting scenes behind the action because otherwise the audience focuses on what's happening
It's all,
behind the action.
but it's got it has the same faded background look. You know what I mean? And I want to. All of the action is interspersed. You know, it's like cutaways where in between you're talking, it cuts to the action in the background. Oh yeah, it's terribly put together. The composition is fucking horrible. That's because it's produced by me. But please have your discussion. Oh, by the way, Gwent has a stack of wood tokens that are like fingernail level thick and have faces of different knights painted on them.
This is a new game, Quint.
Oh yes, yes. He stacks all of the wood tokens so that they're in like a column, and then produces a bigger like metal flat disc, slightly thicker and weighs a bunch more, and it has his face on it, and then he slams it down and watches the wood discs fly everywhere, and he's like, excellent, that was a great throw. Just need to get somebody hooked on this, and we can spread it through the whole court.
what are you calling this one?
I'm calling it frogs. Because
Frogs.
all of the pieces hop around like frogs.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense to me too.
So at least Orpheus is obviously looking for support. I don't know if that. I don't think that's the main reason that UFO came. I think he came to gird his loins, but I think that's also part of his reasons for being here.
Yes, Ulfius definitely believes that London will fall and is looking for support from everywhere. But I've also heard that it seems like everyone except for Ulfius is ready to bend the knee to Nanteliod and proclaim him High King. Ulfius is standing in the way. One, what do we want to do as far as military support? But also, do we politically want to ally ourselves with? Do we think Nanteliod would make a good High King? Because if Ulfius got overrun in London, then there may not be anyone to stand in the way of that. That said, if we don't think Nanteliod should be High King, then we should make sure that Ulfius survives.
I'm pledged to service for Nanteliod for this season, at least. I had planned to advise the Countess to at least perhaps consider an alliance with him, if not, probably not homage until he is a little bit more established in the Western reaches. But losing London would be a blow to the kingdom.
I certainly don't think that we should be considering speeding Ulfius to his grave. I think that when the time comes, God appoints the High King, acting through his agents on Earth. But that it is conspicuous how few forces have rallied to the defence of London, which has traditionally always been the seat of power in Britain. I agree that I think the majority of our efforts of support should be directed Nanteliod's ways, but I would also consider recommending to the Countess that we dispatch some forces, perhaps our older knights led by a younger member of the Order of the Axe, or perhaps even Dame Titania, to support London. I don't want a situation where London falls and Ulfius points the finger at those who didn't send troops as the reason that he could not hold the city walls. Maybe even with troops, it's a lost cause, but I think that we need to give him every opportunity to defend our seat of government.
I was thinking much along the same lines, although I was going to nominate Baron Huel to lead our forces, but
Yeah, that's also a good option.
There is another option. If we actually do want to reinforce London, if I go, I can probably convince Lady Ridichan to send some men as well.
it's a good idea to. Well, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to go, but I think it's a good idea to reach out to the Lady of Ridichan, and you certainly have the most pull with her.
Now, see,
I would support
Glimo,
that.
I hate to point it out, but these two do know what's going to happen this year, and you don't. That's what's happening here. Is what Spoon's talking around. He's already alluded to it at least once this episode.
I mean,
They're using future seer powers.
Kendric would also like to keep the Order of the Axe. Like, either if we're going to be riding, Kendric would like them to all ride together, or those who are not staying at home.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. And also that gets us a little bit more money.
What can he do in his heart? Because it sounds like you want to go to London to help defend it. And I would never want you to not do that. Even with Spoon fission mailing you.
I was just hoping to finally get some more combat rolls again. But
I assure you, if you go to London, you'll get combat rolls, my man.
Yeah, there will be a fight.
So if
come on down.
Without metagame, like I'm if the Order of the Axe all pledges to go to Nantiliode, then I would not split the party.
Well, and Kendrick's not going to tell anyone what to do. He is going to ride with Nantiliad.
Yeah. Well, I will be remaining here. I just have my duties to the court, and I need to see what's happening with the Saxons first as well, whether they've been asking for more tribute. But as I've been blessed with the wealth of my cousin's lands, I was considering potentially using this year to attempt to recruit mercenaries, since our forces are often being drawn in multiple directions and we only have a finite number of knights. I think that those who work for coin have been on the rise.
Gwen says, "Sorry, guys. I am sworn to defend the castle against the Witch's Forest. I can rarely go elsewhere except on mystical quests, so if you are riding in any direction, I can't go with you. Now, if you can turn into werewolves again, that's a different story."
Perhaps with Sir Gwgan staying here, with myself riding to Nanteliad, perhaps you should go to London, and then we have a Knight of the Axe in all three of the places that are important to us, covering all of our bases, as it were.
Very well. I will send letters to the Lady of Ridichan and see if she's willing to, well, Should we clear this with the Countess first? And
Yes,
No, I mean, yes,
all this
obviously.
depends upon the Countess's blessing, but yes.
but assuming that the Countess is amenable, then I
I
can.
mean, I assume you already have a blessing to assist Nantelia, though, right, Kendrick?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
The player doesn't remember if we had that conversation, but okay.
But the doors to the castle opened. The doors to the hall open. And we see Prince Selin of Sussex pushing them open, Aragorn style, like, you know, coming in, Battle of Rohan, just like pushing the doors open, exhausted. Absolute, what the kids call aura farming nowadays. Looks completely badass, backlit by the moon rising. With him is Aesquan of Essex, and of course Selin of Sussex. And Selin like strides in. Neither of them are wearing weapons, so it seems like it's okay that they're here, but you know, they weren't announced or introduced in any way, so there's a bit of a stir. And the circus guy is keeping things going. Simon Chicory is keeping the match going, but like attention is wavering as people turn to look at what's happening, and like general conversation dies down. And you can see that Selin tosses a scroll down in the direction of Ellen, and then points a finger and says, Countess Ellen, last year your man offered me vile insult as you drove me out of this very castle. You people treat us like we are savages and invaders when we have been here for generations now, invited by your High King Vortigern, and you heap us with venom rather than victuals. I will have the tribute this year, and it will be paid to me alone, to my father, who will be Bretwalda of all of the Saxons. We come not changing your culture or your religion. We ask for less taxes than any king would. We pay you when you serve us, rather than demand 40 days of riding with no payment at all. And yet you still treat us as if we are outsiders in your home. This is our home. You belong to us. You are our tributaries, and we will not be denied access. I come bearing no weapons nor insults, and I do not break any rules of hospitality, but know that your insults to me last year will not be forgotten. You will bow before Sussex when this is done, or this land will perish. He turns and he looks at Kenric. Kenric obviously is here to once again try to collect tribute, and the two of them step forward and have like a nose to nose. Aesquan moves to step behind Selin, and that's when Ufo moves to stand behind Kenric, and now the four of them are like nose to nose with each other. Everyone is completely silent as these four princes basically stand off against each other, until finally Selin, like, just absolute crazy eyes, this guy never blinks, just intimidates Kenric until he steps back. And Kenric's just like, I don't have time for this. I'm here to enjoy a celebration. Besides, Selin, you smell. The whole room, already completely silent, is now filled with fear as Selin whips around and walks out. Aesquan goes with him. Ufo's like, damn, bro, that was sick. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Their auras. So powerful.
I was really hoping to have an opportunity there to try and, like, you know, just nudge some servant into like the fray to accidentally, like, you know, to try and trigger something else. Someone gets pushed, you know, and it just escalates. But,
Yeah.
Typical GrimDarkJames start shit and has his enemies fight each other. Yes, I understand. Sorry, this was a cutscene, bro. There's no quick time events.
Refresh my memory. Who insulted Selin?
James did.
Yeah.
Gwgan drove him out of the castle last year.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
I didn't drop him out of the castle.
Okay.
I said he could stay as long as he wanted, but he would just get like every time he would try to get some sort of response, he would just get we're busy, you know.
No, I think what happened is you were like, "Oh, we can't host you this year" or something like that.
No,
Right?
no.
You sent him away somehow.
He wanted the Countess to swear fealty.
Yes, but he does that every year.
And I said, we'll just, we'll get back to you on that, And then it was sort of like, once things started to happen, it's like, well, with what's going on now, we had to tell them, oh, sorry, you can stay as long as you want, but, we haven't got the time to receive you right now.
Yes, because of the child attempting to murder Glimo. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's the double
You basically
20s.
sent him away, and he was pissed.
Yeah, send him out of the
Gotcha.
send him out of the court, like not out of the city. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that refreshes my memory. I was like, "What did we do to this guy?"
No. We dismissed everybody, but it was done as well to sort of
but he took it personally.
string it along.
He says, "Call an ambulance," but not for me. That's it. It's just memes this whole episode. We'll be back in 5 minutes for more memes and maybe more episode. So you should know, those who aren't watching live, I had chat covered, and we once again have the James and Spoon memeing the fuck out of chat situation, which probably is good that I didn't see it. Last episode, I was losing my mind, actually. At one point in the episode, I was like, someone should take directive control of this stream away from me.
Assuming direct control.
Yes, Harbinger, of course. Yeah, so we come back in that exact moment, and that's when someone enters stage left from behind Selin and shouts, "He's dead! He's dead!" And then you hear a church bell ringing. "Bishop Roger, he's finally died! I have here his final will!" Everyone's like, "Oh, shop, gasp! We love Bishop Roger, he's the best!" The messenger is going through all of the things that Bishop Roger has bequeathed, which includes 50 pounds to Kyned from this year's church tithings in recognition of the great service your lineage has done for the church. And also he has set aside a high position for like scholarship and priesthood. Like, if you give a third or a fourth son to the church, he's basically ensured a path for that person to become a priest rather than like a monk or something. They're going to head up a monastery or like a church.
They'll be in good hands.
Yes, he's basically bequeathed you a golden parachute for any of your children if you wish to put them into the service of the church in recognition of you turning over 3 noble children, at least one of which has claims to your lands, and 2 other fine noble daughters who will be married off to clergymen or turned into nuns.
Also, not to mention, the conversion of Kyned himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't need to trumpet that around. I mean, you've also been given 1 posthumous plenary indulgence for today. All of this is on wet ink as Bishop Roger just expired less than an hour ago. And these were basically his final acts were thinking of you. Yesterday, they said he was up and about, right? He really wanted to get through today, get through the Pentecostal feast, and he almost made it right at the very end. So with all of these shocking events, everyone has moved away from the wrestling pit in the center of the room, and so that Kyned's troupe has basically just given up and is going back to their instruments and putting on thematic music, which in this case is like dramatic strings like wavering and like a mysterious flute noise just to theme up the political drama that's now unfolding based on all the events that are happening. You can see that Ellen is still seated, looking very concerned. Ufo is in I would say deep contemplation with the Lady Jenna. Why are you smiling at that? You know, I may play him as a frat boy, but he has an MGA, a Masters in Guild Administration. He knows how to run the city of London. He may be a bro, but he's still going to Yale.
Fair enough.
Although I guess in this case he's going to Oxford, but...
So I'm dealing with a cat that's trying to claw the crap out of my leg.
Sure. So with
I was gonna
all of
make
that
a-
going on right now, and in the background, you can see that Gwent is trying to push frogs on people. I mean, the game frogs, not actual frogs.
Well, we should get the Countess and have a discussion we were just having before we were interrupted.
Okay. Now, of course, it never goes without remark when the Order of the Axe goes to meet privately with the Countess in the middle of the feast, right? Like, people are like, ooh, what great business are they talking about? What intrigues could be plotted and hatched? And people are now, like, sending pages to wait at the door of wherever you're meeting. But, of course, that shit's locked tight as the Countess meets with the three of you. Well, events this feast are happening at a much more rapid pace than normal. I have to say, Sir Kyned, your performers are a bit more theatrical than normal. Normally, they pitch me on some sort of musical performance as part of a number of different performers, but this year, they appear to have booked my entire feast table. I was enjoying it greatly, the Ancient Times performance. It seemed to disturb the physician Quintus, though, so I doubt its veracity and truthfulness, but it was an entertaining prospect nonetheless. However, I find my mind has turned to more troubling aspects of what has happened here.
Well, I'm glad that we could give you at least a moment of joyful respite before things turn sour.
She gives a significant NPC glance to Gwgan.
Have you had a chance to read the letter that our guest dropped off?
I have not. You approached me so quickly. I assume that my handmaidens will bring it to me once it has been successfully pried away from the crowd. I expect that it will say nothing more than what we already know.
Well, let's just focus on the other matter we wish to start with, and that is who we support militarily this year. First off, Kendric, did you want to speak about your
Yes. Countess, I would request your leave to go ride with Nanteliod again this year. As you know, my son has taken up his position as squire with Sir Elaine, and I served with him last year, and I have been given a position in his van this year.
I am hesitant to put my official backing on this. I, of course, would never stop my knights from questing and earning whatever coin they need to throughout the year. I have always done so. But the neutrality of Salisbury and the peace of the land is somewhat famous at this point. We are extremely prosperous compared to our neighbors. The Earl of Jagant is here tonight, and things did not go well in his defense of his lands. He's the current Earl, who is the son of the Earl who died defending it. Just to be clear here when I say that. He is in exile, of course, now that his lands have been claimed by the so-called King of Cornwall.
I thought they were successfully defended.
There's also
last
the
year.
matter of
She's like shaking her head.
Hmm.
Things have gone poorly over the winter. I am not clear on how long it will be before Cornwall comes for us, but they hold at least part of the county of Jagant.
Hmm.
Saxons to the east, Cornwall to the west,
Here I
picked
am.
raids traveling up the west coast. You laugh? Sir Kendric?
No, this was James made a reference
Very
that we're
well.
stuck in the middle.
I see. I hadn't even thought of that while I was saying it. We are beset by foes in every direction. And our only true ally is the Countess of Ridichan, whose forces, I think you already know, are quite thin indeed. We have many friends, but I suspect that should we call on them, they would not answer. They are willing to talk only. I have several entreaties here from Duke Ulfius. What counsel do you have on that situation? Especially if you feel so freely that you would ride north.
We discussed this, and we think that it's important that Salisbury be shown to be contributing to the defense of Londinium. Even if we were to dispatch some of our older knights, and simply under the command of even Kyned. So Kyned could take a group of knights to London to simply show support for Duke Ulfius. It creates a assistance for our neighbours, but also establishes our neutrality. If one of our knights rides to help Lantiliod, one of our knights rides to help Ulfius.
And a knight will remain here as well, yes?
Of course, I'll
make sure
remain
these
here.
lands are protected.
Yes.
Significant NPC glitz.
Yes. As will the rest of the Order of the Axe.
Of course. Well, Sir Seeth and the Dame, I'm sure, hardly leave each other's company for long. They are a strange couple, I think. Rare to see two married individuals who love each other so much. Perhaps it's true that love can even blossom during war.
With that being said, I think that if we are going to deplete our local forces, that we need to pay at least a tribute this year to ensure that we are not putting everybody else aside.
It would seem that we should pay our usual tribute to Sussex. They have been steadfast. Our knights have even served them at one point.
I think you mean Wessex.
No, it's Sussex, right? You guys normally
Is it Sussex?
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Sussex.
that's right. That's right. Sorry, I was thinking.
AL. You guys pay tribute to AL,
yes.
not Kendric. Or sorry, not Cerdic.
Yeah,
Kendric is his son.
No, I agree. I concur that that is the right way to go.
Does anyone know what disturbed Prince Selin so?
I mean, last year he came demanding that we bend the knee straight away, and we used the unfortunate incident in court as a reason to end court early. He feels slighted by that. He feels he wasn't given appropriate, I guess.
Well, there's no reason to dicker around it. He was slighted by that.
He was slighted as equally as everybody else in court.
I believe that we should make some effort to counter the points that he made in our court. It would not do well for us to be seen as morally failing. He made some interesting remarks, and if any of you have some manner of speechcraft that you might practice before the court in order to philosophically reassure our people of our spiritual and moral duties, I would appreciate that. I will set my handmaidens around a similar cause. It would not do well for our people to be demoralized when we are beset on so many fronts.
I think that wouldn't be too hard to produce such evidence. I'll work on something straight away.
Is there any other business?
Lady, if I am to go lead a detachment to London, would you feel ill if we asked the Lady of Ridichan to also send what she can to help reinforce London?
I'm sure that they are beset on every side, but I would not interfere in any request you have to send to your future in-laws. Your betrothal is rock solid, and there is, of course, the matter of the song. Your independence, despite being a member of my officers, is well known.
Thank you, my lady.
Thank you for your service. I can only hope that this supposed push on London will end as all other pushes towards London have ended, quietly and with little fanfare.
The walls of London are stout and tall and defended by good men.
There are many defenses, escarpments, and other locations throughout the centuries of history that have been in similar situations and have fallen as well.
You would need quite the siege train to overcome them, I would think. Although my skills at sieging castles is...
Have you considered,
burgeoning.
Sir Kendric, that despite your siege craft being thin, you are also one of the most skilled in all of this land?
Perhaps. I certainly would not want to assault those walls.
Well, just because the Romans built it doesn't mean that it can't fall down. I mean, look at how Rome is doing even now.
Indeed.
They can barely even agree on who leads the church. That's a callback to the anti-pope.
Yes. I know you are reluctant to put your official seal on either of these actions, but I believe that we should perhaps send more than just a token force to Orpheus.
You are the one who suggested we send a token force, and now you say we should send more? What additional force are you thinking?
No, I just think that if we are going to, I am already committed.
Yes.
To Nanteliod.
You want to send your group suggestion is to send an older knights under the command of Sir Kyned, who is openly known to be one of my high officers.
Yes, I just did not want us to send
Should we be turning out our levies? Is it that serious?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, but I just did not want my brother to go alone.
I can bring 2 knights of my family. I can bring the Lady Braith and Ifanwe, my former squire, who I raised 3 summers ago. If there are others, and I could bring some we call them not levies,
lineage men.
Lineage. I could bring some lineage men as well, but I'm open to suggestions of who else is.
I am loath to
sword in
officially
mind.
part with any knights, and of course, I can't be seen openly siding against Nanteliod, for the same reason I cannot be seen openly siding against Orpheus. if you can convince knights who are not committed to the defense of castles, keeps, important locations, or our progress knights to join you, I will look aside.
Very well. Thank you, milady. Gentlemen, it seems we have work to do.
Indeed.
You head back out onto the feast floor. The feasting table has been brought out, and people have gone from eating medieval fast food to having the traditional feast now, and they are devouring it. The room is full of gossip and drama over all the events that have happened. What would you all like to do?
First, I'll find de Havillard and tell him that while official support from Salisbury will not be given, that I will be leading a detachment to reinforce London and am working to see who I can volunteer for that.
So Sir Falbrad says, yes, I appreciate that, Sir Kyned. You, perhaps more than any of the others in this room, understand how important Duke Ulfius's position as the defender of London is. If nothing else, the sword that shall proclaim the next High King of the land of Logris is located thereabouts. We cannot afford to lose control of it. Could you imagine the damage to this country if some sort of Saxon whelp manages to force it out with one of their giants or some such, or maybe their Wodinic blood magic? Perhaps we shall stand together on the walls. My lord Ulfius loves walking the walls privately.
Sometimes he goes out with other people and returns alone.
I'd like to go around and talk to some knights and see where they're going, and maybe try and convince them to head to London with Kyned.
Is there a particular knight you're looking for, or are you just in general would like to make some sort of roll to convince knights?
No, nobody that I'd like to seek out to send to Kyned, but just like to the Knights of Salisbury who are uncommitted in general.
I will ask for a courtly roll.
Okay, courtesy.
Yes. Closer you get to your target number without going over will be the quality and number of knights. I should
Could I try and no, I'll just roll straight 15. That is a fumble. Good thing I did not try to impassion.
You go around, you are attempting to recruit people to it, and your morale plummets. Right? Like, you're like, so I'm going north, but I need people to go east. And the knight you're talking to is like a progress knight, and he's like, that's weird. Why aren't you going?
Well, because
that's strange.
Obviously
you don't have trust in Duke Ulfius? You don't want to go there?
I've already sworn my sword to King Manteliot. This was, I signed the paperwork, a couple of years ago.
Sir Ufo comes over very loudly. He's like, bro, I just heard that you're going to King Manteliot this year? What's with that, bro? I thought we were cool, man.
I'm sorry.
Nanteliot is trying to, like, become the High King or whatever.
Yeah. Listen, my path was set before this, before the new year even came about.
Bro, bad timing.
I would
clicks
not
his
break my
tongue.
word.
He furrows his brows. He shakes his head at you, and then pulls a stance. He pulls a b-boy stance on you, and then pivots on a heel and walks away. People nearby are just like, "Oh shit!" He just like that more than anything represents how upset Sir Ufo is at this moment. People are like, "Wow, that was the most dramatic and emotional thing I've ever seen Sir Ufo do." Nearby, someone whispers, they're like, "He looks so betrayed." Not to you. His face looked totally passive and normal in every way.
Yeah, completely slack jawed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
The word
Fumble,
gets
so
around the
fumble.
feast quickly that Sir Kendric doesn't believe that London will stand, and that anyone going there, it will be a fool's errand. Hey man, you rolled the fumble, not me.
I thought I was.
let's be clear. You didn't say that. That's the rumor that's spreading.
Yes, of course.
Would anyone else like to go on a doomed errand, I guess? Roll some more 20s here.
Well, I need to go and address the elephant in the room, which was, of course, the a visit by our offended knight. I think that my announcement is going to be that just to clarify the insult that was claimed here was that last year we had, unfortunately, an unsightly murder in the court, and we had to end court early, even though it applied equally to all present. Apparently, he took particular insult that even though he was invited to remain in town for as long as was required to solve his matter, he still took insult to it. We are still reviewing, the claims that he has made. I mean, as he said, their connection was with High King Vortigern, who was defeated by the High King Uther. So presumably, whatever vows Vortigern's line made died with that particular line, and Uther ratified no such vows. So we have to review reams of historical documents to even pay any sort of credence to the claims that he has made. But out of respect for him and his king, or Brett Walder, we will review said documents. But this is a time-consuming process, and it would be an affront to God to make to bend the knee without paying all attention to the matters at hand.
So I'm going to offer you a +3
Okay.
to the roll because the people here want to believe in the righteousness of your cause. And I'm going to give you another +2 because you are absolutely throwing your Wessexian allies under the bus, because their claim to nobility and title comes through Vortigern. And the guy is literally here in the room with you, and you're like, yeah, so Vortigern, his decrees don't really have any water, so I'll give you a +2 for dunking on him, because you definitely have caused a different issue down the line.
Okay, no worries. Do I want to impassion first? I am going to try. Are you okay with loyalty lord in this particular
of course.
case?
That's exactly what you're doing. I think it would be strange if you chose something else.
Oh,
Okay, but it's not famous though.
Yeah.
So it's so
close.
Yeah. Do my regular. I'll do all right.
I think it's difficult for you to think of Ellen still as like your lord. You literally just got done talking about how, the boy is the true lord, right? And you're trying to psych yourself up about the rightness of Ellen's cause, but all you can think about is looking at Robert and being like, this kid is going to be my commander one day. This is going to be my liege lord.
Should have impassioned 8 seconds. Would have been a critical success.
Wow. Coulda, shoulda, didn't.
Yeah, that's it. But my all right's a success.
All right. Is that with the +5?
Yeah, it is, yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I mean, the people want to believe this, right? They want to be reassured that what they're doing is correct. There's no reason to question the rightness of their cause. all of that was just Saxon jibber jabber. Anyway, like, of course he's going to try to shake us. We are right in our cause. And you're perfectly correct. Just because Vortigern did it doesn't mean that Uther also had to carry it out. And there isn't a High King now anyway. So, what are those now? Does the land carry the oaths of previous kings? I don't know. Tough to think about. Anyway, it throws enough confusion, throws enough water on the fire to put it out, right? And yeah, the people will not be swayed by this Saxon pretender who came here with such dark claims. Anyone else got shit they want to do here? I mean, it's been such a spicy court meeting.
Yeah.
Is Baron Wheel here?
Oh, Baron Wheel is here.
Kyned will go see Baron Wheel.
Ah, Sir Kyned.
Baron, how are you?
Well, I've lost... I don't remember how much a stone is. I've lost 20 pounds. And I don't mean the coin.
I think one stone is 16 pounds from memory.
I lost a stone and a half, I guess, roughly. I mean, not exactly.
14.
I lost 20 pounds. I'm looking great. The stress has been off me now that all of those northern ferry routes have finally started pulling in money. I thought for years that they would be an absolute failure. We put so much into it. And someone recently placed an enormous order for lumber.
Excellent. That's great to hear, Baron. I'm glad that everything is coming up well for you.
Oh, yes. I thought it was for a castle, but it's far too much lumber for a castle. Could be for 2 or 3 castles, honestly. I should probably check where it's all going, but you had something you wanted to talk to me about, Sir Kyned?
I did.
I should do that before checking in on that thing I was just talking about.
So Duke Ulfius has sent word that he fears a final siege is happening in London this year.
I've heard about that.
I am taking a small contingent of knights to backstop Ulfius, and if you could spare anyone, I would greatly appreciate it.
Well, let me say this. I will go myself and bring as many of my loyal knights as possible, although I think Sir Kendric would not answer my call. He seems busy this year.
Yes, I believe he already pledged his sword before Ulfius made the ask, and doesn't want to break his oath.
Honestly, so many projects have been completed in the last year, and the big one that I was supposed to do this year got subcontracted out. Kendric is handling that part himself, so I'm more free than I have been for most of a decade. I would love to make a little extra coin standing on the walls of London, sneering at Saxons, and then just coming home this year. I will bring as many of my loyal knights as I can with me. Surely my second in command, Sir Paul, will come with me as well. I can probably get a contingent of 50 knights.
Sir Paul's going to be busy.
What's that?
15.
I think a page just ran over to me and said Sir Paul would be busy. I will be coming myself without Sir Paul. I didn't know that. Thank you, Messenger Boy.
Well, I very much
flips him a
appreciate.
shilling. No, wait, sorry, it's denari. He flips him a denari.
Thank you very much, Baron Wheel. I will make sure that you have all of the details for our land route and all of that.
I am honored to swear myself under your command as our spy master leading a caravan to the aid of Londonium. I have business there, lumber trade business, so it would be good to get things done all at once.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Baron.
He raises a glass to give you a cheers.
I raise a glass in return.
Feels like a momentous occasion. A huge commit.
It is certainly a moment.
Thanks, James. Way to undersell it. Any other events we want to happen? I'm not trying to rush us out of this feast, but
I'm good.
I do pen a note to the Lady of Ridichan and say that myself and that I'll be leading a detachment, including Baron Wheel and 50 knights, to the defense of London, and if she can spare anyone to. Well, actually, I don't actually write, apparently. So
yes, but you have people to do that for you.
I have people who do that for me.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you have your manners, noble confessor. Your priest will do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
If this was Game of Thrones, your maester would do the writing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reading.
Yes, so I pen that off and have it sent to Lady Ridichan.
I will let you determine whether you would like to do this as a courtesy roll or a battle roll.
I would prefer battle.
I think given your numbers, you would.
Yes. Yeah, I'll just roll it.
Yeah. So what you send is a highly clinical letter asking for aid rather than a courtly gesture to an ally.
Oh.
Wow. Another
fumbles. Dude, we are not supposed to go to London, apparently. Jesus.
You receive no reply from Ridichan before you are scheduled to leave for Londonium. I think we do a cutaway to a dude who's like riding through Levkamagus, who's just like, yep, I'm a messenger, dude. I'm a messenger, bro. Just riding the messenger road. Whoa. Passing through Levkamagus. And then we see like a group of Saxon raiders. One of them throws a spear. It goes right through his neck. Blood sprays all over a scroll that's in his hand that like goes into the mud. It gets covered in blood. It sinks down into the mud. The Saxons like rob the messenger and then drag him and his horse, who they've also killed, off the road. No one will ever find this message or the writer.
Can I offer a counterpoint?
Yes.
Especially since Spoon fumbled as well.
Yeah.
Spoon's loggers drop a tree on the messenger.
Yes, all right, yes. That's exactly what happens. They're illegally logging on the wrong side of the border, and they cut a tree down. It accidentally kills the messenger, and then rather than get in trouble for killing a noble messenger on the wrong side of the border, they hide the body. They can't read the message, so they don't know how important it is, so they bury it with the body. And they rob him as well.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Perfect. We wrapped everything up in a nice bow.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I'm a messenger, bro. Oh, bam.
For some reason, I was imagining he was Seuss from Gravity Falls. Okay, anything else? Anything else we'd like to fumble at this feast before we move forward?
Let's get all of our bad rolls out now for when they don't affect
I
our characters.
don't hardly think we have. I have a little something called pattern recognition.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. What do I want to do here? I think oh, my PDF closed. What a pain in the butt.
Decision's over.
All right, so it looks like we're gonna go to London first. That's what happens first, chronologically. So, Sir Kyned, you and the Baron go with a huge train of knights comparatively. Like, originally, this was supposed to just be like a handful of knights and a token force to make Ulfius feel better. You travel with like a full 50 knights, including one of Will's bannerets with him, and like full-on knights who have their own estate holdings, and then of course household knights and lineage men. They all bring squires. Several of them bring wives and their sons, and then of course they've got their baggage train. So like there's a full 250 people traveling with you. Like, it is a huge procession. It's basically a festival, and your players go with you, which includes Simon Chicory. So your journey is considerably slowed down, and it takes almost a full 3 days to get to London. When you arrive, you could see that people are outside of the walls trying to get in, and that the city is like bursting at the seams with people. Commerce seems to be going full speed here as well, and there are just huge complaints everywhere. People are complaining that because there's so many more people here, there's not enough bakers and ovens to cook enough food. Right? Like, the city only has so much capacity for food. At this time in London, there aren't, like, people don't have ovens in their houses. They buy food and they take it to someplace that cooks it for them, and then they take that and eat it. There literally is just not enough infrastructure to handle the number of refugees coming from Saxon lands. And there's a huge number of sellswords, mercenaries, knights from all over the country. It's not like an enormous number of people that are wearing chainmail like you, carrying a sword and with a horse, but there are plenty of people with like farm implements and some sort of like thick cloth. They don't seem particularly disciplined, and there's no like serious mercenary commanders to gather them around into a force. They just seem to be taking Ulfius's coin. Ulfius has tapped you to be an advisor along the walls. He's also seeking a knight to help defend the walls. He has heard that there's an architect by the name of Sir Halifer the Mercenary, who lives in the city of London, and who's hoping that Sir Halifer would help him reinforce the walls. But apparently he got a job in Salisbury and hasn't been seen all summer.
Yeah, but he ain't there either.
Damn, that's crazy. I wonder where he could be. Anyway, Kyned, shit is absolutely insane when you get here, and you basically are forced to camp outside the walls. So your 250-person procession does not find rooms or space anywhere near London, and because it's so freaking wet in every direction around London, you have to commute to work every day through the boglands around it.
Awesome.
You have to cross all these wonderful bridges around London, and you often hear little kids talking about London bridges and how they're falling down because the Romans made them 500 years ago and they're barely maintained anymore.
Mm-hmm. Should it become important, I have brought from my family Braith, a Fanway, and 5 lineage men.
It will be important.
Mm-hmm.
Ulfius waits for reinforcements. He is glad to hear that the men of Salisbury have come, but he calls the people of Ridichan no goods when they send nothing to join. There are several volunteer knights who have come from afar, but it sounds as if most of the country of most of the nation of Logres has instead answered the banner of Nanteliot. King Aesk of Kent and King Aethel I took my water bottle somewhere else. King Aethelswith of Essex are marching separate armies on London, and so Ulfius has gathered you and the Baron to his councils in London, and he says, there are two armies. We have seen this several times over the last few years. If you can crush the armies separately and defeat them in detail, you can prevent them from becoming one single larger army that would be impossible to defeat. It's going to take a night attack. I believe that we should march downriver tonight with all haste and surprise one of the two armies before making our way back to London and sealing ourselves up behind the walls. What do you say, Baron? Sir?
My only advice would be, don't take everyone. Make sure there's at least some defense of the city should there be another force that we haven't seen that sweeps around us, or should we be overrun.
You're right. I will leave my most capable commander in command of the walls of London, Sir Ufo, my son. Why do you always laugh when he does stuff?
Just because Ufo's a funny name.
Okay. He turns to look at you, and he absolutely 100% is projecting, not Denethor. Who's the king of Rohan?
Theoden.
He's projecting Theoden energy right now as he says, will you ride with me, Sir Kyned? Will you ride out this night as we seek to blunt the advance of one of the armies and scatter them in the night?
I will, Ulfius.
Baron Will is like, and my axe. Okay. Ulfius makes the decision to attack. He crosses at Windsor and marches his army from out of London up behind. However, right as he prepares to attack, he gets word that the armies of Kent have crossed on newly built ferries the river and are now absolutely outnumbering him. Both armies have combined Essex and Kent right in front of him, and in the middle of the night, he is getting demolished. I need you to make a battle roll real quick. Can you hit it at -5? You may want to consider impassioning. This is for the survival of you and your knights.
Can I impassion with honor?
I will say yes.
I mean, if you feel I can't, then
I think yes. I just hadn't thought of it that way. But yes,
Okay.
You have committed yourself to this action in the name of honoring treaties and such. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a success.
That's a plus what? +5?
+5. Yep.
Okay.
So it'll be a flat battle roll then. Oh my god.
You fumbled it. Unbelievable.
What is going on with the battle rolls?
Okay. Well, I hope you have that list of all the people who are about to fucking die.
Was Braith, Afanwe, myself, and 5 lineage men.
Okay. So according to this, critical failure, fumble. Yikes. Not great. 75% losses, so I need you to pick half of your people to be killed, and then 1/4 will be captured. So since you only brought 3 people, 2 of them will be dead and 1 of them will be captured.
Can that come from his lineage men as well?
You get away.
Yes, you get away. Yes. Baron Will dies. Like, he just straight up gets fucking slaughtered in the middle of the night. He's riding beside you and Ulfius. Ulfius is like, we must cavalry charge in order to cover the retreat. And, like, he rides out. Ulfius is riding with Quill next to him. And Quill just, like, someone is holding a branch. As Quill goes past, he lets go. And Quill just gets decapitated. Absolutely fucking, his head comes off like a fucking smashed pumpkin. His body and his horse continue riding into the Saxon lines, where they capture his horse, all of his money, all of his shit. His men immediately rout upon seeing their lord get just brutally murdered. Like, they stop riding forward and begin riding to the side. Ulfius is fighting beside you. Your knights are fighting to keep you alive while they are getting slaughtered. Ulfius is in full retreat. His armies are fleeing back to London. So, what's the butcher's bill?
Can that 75% come out of lineage men?
No, I think
is
the
it
named
knights
characters.
only?
No, I like named characters. Yeah.
Well,
We're
I
gonna
mean,
kill
I'm sure
some
the
named
lineage men
characters.
have named
I
as
mean,
well.
I have 3 named characters. It's me and Braith and Afanwe.
Okay, so they die, and you
Okay.
get captured. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so the Baron is absolutely dead. A bunch of his knights get captured as well and have to be ransomed back. You also need to be ransomed back, so let me go check the ransom table to figure out what you're worth. It's probably going to be quite a bit. Fortunately, I seem to recall you recently making a bunch of money.
yeah.
Yeah, so much for all those things I was going to build.
It's probably not going to be that bad.
It's not as bad as you
Yeah,
as you
it's
think.
like
For,
a normal
for
knight
vassal
is like
knights.
6
It's
pounds.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it also depends on what book you use.
You're
If
a
you were
knight.
a banneret, it would be much worse.
You're a landed knight, a vassal knight, so it will cost
Correct.
18 pounds.
Okay.
Which
Can I just
chart?
ask,
Oh, sorry,
Yes.
go ahead, James.
is anybody else experiencing issues with Arthur occasionally freezing just for a second or not? Is that
No.
me?
No.
Okay, cool.
You mean visually or audioly?
Audioly. And then a moment later, it goes for like, it speeds up for a second to sort of catch up with what you just said.
Interesting.
It must be my end.
Could be.
What chart are you using, by the way? For
I'm using the chart called Ransom and Blood Price on page 161.
the core book.
Yes. Oh, it's edition 5.1, which is the one I always consult.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Is it the same in the other book as well?
Let's see.
Because if you got captured, your blood price is 150 as a bear.
Yeah, I was just saying, mine is
You'd be
significantly
fucked if
higher.
you got captured.
Yeah, it's because I'm not landed like a banneret is. I'm barely
Landed vassal is still 18 pounds in
okay.
in 5.2. Yes, so
Yeah.
you need to pay that much.
I do so.
Classic full frontal assault through a minefield under the cover of daylight. Yes, by the way, you are paying Baron Will for his lumber.
Yeah, I was like, this motherfucker. Well, not anymore. He's dead.
Well, no, you've already paid. All right, so you and Ulfius retreat into the great city of London. The Saxons move to besiege London, although the Saxons don't normally bring siege equipment. This time.
Do I retreat into London? I mean, if I'm
Oh, yeah, sorry, you get captured. So you watch this from the other side. You watch from a nearby hill looking over London where you see Ulfius on the walls watching his city be attacked. The Saxons don't normally bring siege equipment, so you're sort of surprised when there's like fucking catapults and shit and like siege ladders and that. And then Sir Helfer the mercenary walks up beside you. He's like, "Didn't I see you at a feast recently? What's your name? Sir Kyned?"
Yes.
He reaches out
Helfer.
to shake your hand.
I thought you were down working on Kendric's.
Yo, yes, Sir Kendric. Yes, I had to subcontract for him for a while. I got a pretty good deal here.
You built the siege engines to take down London?
I didn't just build the siege engines. Like, one of the Saxons comes over and says something in their unintelligible language you don't understand, and Helfer pulls out what are very clearly a very accurate architect level sketch of the walls and like weak spots and places where people will gather and like the keeps around the tower the White Tower or whatever in London. He just pulls it out and is pointing to locations. It becomes really obvious that this entire siege was basically fully done by Helfer himself.
Awesome.
Yes. It's like the middle of the night.
And I'm tied up and disarmed, so I can't, just kill the bastard.
Yeah, he sees your murderous rage and he goes, "Hey, I was paid to do this. I gave my word. This is an honorable transaction. Surely you have killed people for money before. You're a knight. I'm a knight. We're all knights here. I have assurances that they're not going to rape and loot. Let's be clear. This is all going to be Saxon land one day. Maybe even Anglo land as well. Sort of Anglo-Saxon land. You need to get with the times, my man.
I think that Kyned just is in such a disbelief that he can't summon a response.
I can tell that this has damaged our professional working relationship, but just know I fully intend to finish working on that castle for Sir Kendric. Just as soon as we wrap up the siege here, it should be done within a day or so. Probably the fastest siege of London that's ever been concluded. Not to brag or anything, I got this unlocked. You see like several unfamiliar Saxons come by and just pull him away, and you're basically left alone to watch like a burning London. It's just the walls though, like fire arrows, burning oil that was dropped on Saxons and such. The actual city seems to be all right, which is pretty strange. I mean, you've literally, I don't know if Kyned was involved when you guys sacked that French city. You've seen a city be sacked, and that's not what's happening here. Like, they're not destroying everything. They're just flooding into the city. The next morning, the mayor announces that he has surrendered the city and the county and will pay taxes to the King of Essex and to the King of Kent the next year and switch between those every other year. And that they are now the masters of the city. There is an announcement that the mayor, the guildsman, the bishop, and the harbor master have all surrendered to the Saxon lords and have recognized Sir Hellifer to be their lawful representative in the city.
Did I hear of Ulfius?
Ulfius, you don't hear that he died. You don't hear any news about him that you can trust. There's lots of rumors that he retreated with his son. But there's no, like, confirmed killed. Actually, there's a bunch of Saxon warriors wandering around with a deck of playing cards that have different knights' faces on them. Kendric's on one, and, like, Ufo's on another. He's definitely the Jack of Spades, and then, you know, the King of Coins is absolutely Ulfius, for sure. Got real America and Iraq and Afghanistan there for a second. Okay, several weeks later, you get ransomed off. It's like super strange. They basically treat you as if you're an honored guest in London for several weeks, and you are put into the custody of a ransom broker. So you're treated as long as you give your oath, you're allowed to just freely walk around London and participate. You see Saxon warriors basically show up and start participating in commerce. Like, the Saxons move in, they don't steal anything from anyone. They they demand reasonable rates for stuff. Like, if they see somebody else getting a price for something, they want the same price. They don't want a Saxon price that's higher. Other than that, though, there's a bit of a culture shock and a lot more fist fighting, and some religious clashes. But overall, it's probably one of the most peaceful occupations you've ever seen. And then you're sent home after your family essentially does the medieval version of wiring in the money for you. So you get 5 glory for being recognized in the will of Bishop Roger, and then you get 10 glory for participating in the failed defense of London this year. I think we'll take our break here, and then we'll go to the King Nantiliode hour, and maybe check in and see what James is doing this year, and see if we can squeeze in Christmas Chord, and if we're really lucky, maybe we can do an end of year. But this episode was a bit packed on the front end, I should think. A lot of events happened all at once. And hey, we've now got our new main character syndrome, Sir Hellifer the Mercenary. He is the who's that guy from Deep Space Nine who thought he was the main character? He's got Goldacott syndrome. I'm the main character, Cisco. All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes for that third. Friends, countrymen, Welshmen, lend me your water bottles that I remembered to bring this time.
Excellent.
However, because I drank from it, there's only like less than half a cup left, so that's where it's at. Meanwhile, after the horrifying adventures of Duke Ulfius, who is now trapped within the city of London, sieged in his own towers, which I think Spoon was alluding to, we cut to the Happy Time Fun Gang with King Nantaleode. King Nantaleode has alliances with Clarence and Lambor. He goes to Bedegrain to accept the vassalage of the Earl. The only one to oppose him is the King of Malahut with the aid of Elmet, and begins plundering Lindsay. Lindsay, of course, showed up at the feast, but nobody talked to him. It's a rough time for Lindsay. Duke Corneus cannot hope to match his enemy's army and withdraws everyone into their castles. The main army besieges Lincoln, where the Duke has withdrawn. Nantaleode marches down the Trent, and the three leaders meet outside the city. Corneus plays it cagey, Malahut is aggressive, and Nantaleode accepts the challenge and proposes that Lindsay, with its Duke and army intact, be the prize of a battle between kings. Sabaton should absolutely write a song about this situation as the grand and glorious battle opens between knights. I would like to ask for a battle roll from you, Spoon, and then that will be followed by a, let's call it, sword roll.
Could I perhaps impassion?
Sure. I don't
with
see
a hate Saxons.
I don't think these are Saxons.
They're not?
Is the King of Malahut a Saxon?
I
thought the
know.
Saxons were all much further south. I think this guy's a Briton.
Okay.
Let's Google the King of... I mean, it's King Arthur Pendragon, so of course you don't have any idea who these fucking people are. They're addressed by title and not by name half the time.
Well, so I believe the King of Malahut is... but is it still the Centurion King, or does
it's
he
the
get taken
Centurion
out?
King,
Okay.
Harold de Apres.
And then who
Yeah, no,
is...
so the Saxon kings...
Iberacum.
Yeah, the Saxon kings are Kent, Sussex, Essex, Angles, Port, and Wessex.
Yeah, this is Cumbria.
Who is Elmet?
I'm not sure, but this guy is 100%.
definitely
He's
not a
listed as
Saxon.
culture Roman, so he's definitely not a Saxon.
I still hate this motherfucker, though, because he was mean to us. I
That is
remember this dude
true.
now.
You did meet with the king, but you don't have hatred.
I don't have a passion.
Hatred
yeah.
guy who runs Iberacum and insulted you 15 years ago.
Could I theoretically impassion with honor then?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Second time someone's called on honor today. Let's see how
Oh
it
my
goes.
God.
Exactly the same. I'm not 20. Woo!
Okay, fantastic.
Absolutely
Cool.
fuck your honor here. Yeah. So, and that's a 16, so that's pretty
So
bad,
it goes,
right?
Well, it goes down by 1. I lose. I take a negative, I think.
Let's take a look
see.
at those.
I think you had madness as well. I think.
Yeah, it's bad.
At the end of the battle, I'll go mad.
I'll go mad.
Yeah, so
1d6 plus 5 days of madness, lose 1 point of passion. Yep. Okay. Go ahead and roll 1d6 plus 5 for me real quick.
okay.
I will give you the dignity of
6
deciding
days.
how you go mad at the beginning of the battle. And the nature of how you show up at the battle and then just begin slaughtering indiscriminately, maybe. I don't want to say you ran away, because that doesn't sound very Kendric-ish. I assume you just start killing everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been established in the past that my madnesses are enormous rages. So I think Kendric just starts killing his way through an army, and when he pops out the other side, he just keeps going.
I think that when you come to out of your blood rage blackout, there's like a bunch of camp followers from your own army are dead around you. Like there are clearly your own followers are like, Sir Kendric, you need to calm down. Like, your sword is physically damaged. Like, this sword is completely wrecked. There's cracks down along the side of it. Your armor is like super fucked. And there are stories that knights who fought beside you like backed away from you, and you killed a couple spearmen from Nantleode's army who like marched in front of you, like rode through them, and then killed 2 Saxons on the other side. They're not sure whether those guys are gonna live or not. Yeah, like we went absolutely insane. People stop calling you the Old Wolf, and they go back to calling you the Mad Bear.
Mad Bear.
Yeah.
Do you still want me to make the battle roll?
I don't think so. I think we're good here. I think
Okay.
you could put a check mark in battle for sure. You just go ahead and do that.
Can I put a check mark in any other combat skills?
Sure, put a check mark in sword. You absolutely sworded several people here.
Okay.
You're not getting invited back to the party next year for sure.
Sure.
For sure.
Still get paid though, right?
You're paid. Yeah, paid. You did a good job. King Nantleode and Duke Corneus reconcile after the battle. The armies of Nantleode and Lindsay spend the rest of the summer scouting Lonzep and skirmishing with the Saxons in the south. They look like they're getting ready to move into what we're going to eventually call Anglia, to the south and southeast of them. They're gathering resources from all over the country to basically stock the army for next year, which is a pretty forward-thinking move, which is why the army loves Nantleode. He's a pretty charismatic and effective guy, and, you know, he does that thing where your boss meets with you for lunch to fire you, but you don't get the idea that he's firing you until about halfway through the meeting, sort of deal. He's... Sir Kendric, you did an excellent job during the battle. I just have to say, we are going to have to let you go back to Salisbury. We're worried about the local defense against the Saxons. We don't need you here, Sir Kendric. We don't need you here. We need you at home. You should definitely stay away from the army. And maybe talk to somebody. How's the Parthian chicken? I heard it's extra lava-y today.
Lava-y?
Yes, this lava chicken. You know, the classic Parthian lava chicken. It's an ancient Roman recipe that comes from the cookbook of Jack the Black. A well-known chef, but a scoundrel and a rogue. They say he reformed his life after beginning as a sort of dirty, sex-crazed bard. Anyway, you're fired. Go.
Very well.
Yeah, you and whatever people you brought back with you. None of them are ashamed. They did great in battle, but there's definitely a sort of pall hanging over you of, you know, madness happens to people, right? It happens to knights. They get impassioned. The thing is, you have a reputation of being dangerous to the people around you. You are literally Maverick from Top Gun 1, not Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
You know, Val Kilmer's like, you're dangerous. Yeah, you have
Is that what Nantleode does?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. You're dangerous.
You have a really homoerotic volleyball scene on the beach with it. When you get back home, you learn everything about how Hellifer betrayed you from Hellifer himself while he's busy hauling sand from Dorset to your castle walls. So, like, they've got the basic skeletal structure of the outside of the walls. Like, they're laying in the wooden beams to support the stone walls that'll go in throughout the rest of the year. And you can see that they're hauling big buckets of sand up to the top, which will wait. Once the stones are in place, they're going to use the sand in the way that most people would heat oil. This is Hellifer's new strat. His new strat he learned from London is that pouring super hot sand on people is just as effective as oil while being way more economical.
And he, he's like, oh yeah,
I went in to siege London, and yeah, it fell to the Saxons. You could see he's got on like a fine mink cloak, like
Yeah,
solid gold earrings.
There's literally a story about a American like drug lord back in, I don't know, like the 60s or so, was not on anyone's radar until he wore like a full mink coat to an Ali fight. And then they went, how did he afford that? And they started looking into him and discovered that he was this, in charge of this massive drug ring.
Yes, that's definitely this guy, but without the drugs and with the sex and blood money.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't make any attempt to hide that. He actually seems proud of the fact that he is the first person in decades to break the city of London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
and he still lives there, just to be really clear.
Yeah, of course he does. Okay. And he's like, we have what, 2 years left on this? Or one more year after this year?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
He slaps the dirt and says, foundations aren't going anywhere. Look at these bad boys. We're gonna get the rocks laid in here. We're gonna put some gravel over top. Use classic Roman building techniques here. Just got to make sure we aren't going to mess with the local water table too much. You don't want limestone caverns forming underneath the castles. So just doing a little ecological survey before we start finishing the putting in the walls. Then we can work on the general structure of the castle itself.
Fantastic.
All right, so just a couple problems. We want to get a moat going in here, right? Everybody loves a good moat. It's always good to throw your sewage in there to get it out, of the estate, and also so that anyone crossing the moat will be, poisoned by going through the feces of everyone who lives there and such like that. Just having we hit a clay table on the dig, so it's going to take a little bit of extra time, but I just paid Sir Paul some extra. He's been pretty distraught. I don't know if you heard, but Baron Will is dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, he full on rode into a tree branch and sent his own head flying off in the defense of London.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, Sir Kyned should be showing up in the next few days. I heard he got ransomed.
He was captured.
Yes, during the Battle of London. Yeah.
I see.
I was there, actually.
Yeah, I think you said that already.
Yeah,
once.
no, but I saw him there.
Oh, you saw him there.
Just want to make sure he was okay. Some people get real shook up when they get captured.
Yeah.
It can be emasculating for some people. He seemed okay.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, he was like filled with a blood rage. Couldn't really talk to me about it. But, you know how that is, right?
Yes, I do. I definitely can understand that.
All right, he slapped you on the back. You're going to fit so many rooms in this bad boy.
Yeah. Well, I will hopefully hear from you again when it's finished. Or if there are any other problems.
I don't anticipate any other problems.
Good.
Like I said, Sir Paul could do business. He could do good business. I trusted him to get the boring stuff done, and now I'm here for when the real work gets done.
Good. Just really great.
All right, I'm going to go get my eggs Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. Yep.
Just in case you're not American, Benedict Arnold is a famous traitor in American history. And Eggs Benedict is an absolutely delicious application of hollandaise sauce. That's egg sauce that goes on eggs. Genius. Well, James, you're here with us. You've got working audio now with me.
I'm not here with you. You're here with me.
Okay, I'm here with you. All right,
the
sorry.
audio...
Hold on. Let me do a different take. James, I'm here with you now. What would you like to do this year? I realize things have been absolutely fumbled by everyone else. What would you like to spike into the ground and shit all over?
Listen,
I mean,
James, statistically, if you get 2 rolls, one of them will be a success, one of them will be a fumble.
Yeah. Look, first off, the audio issue is still here at Tim's house. It's not as bad as before, but it's still sticking around. But the only thing I'm looking to probably do this year is maybe throw some coin at trying to. Sorry,
I said a Witcher. Throw some
No,
coin
no.
at a Witcher. Not to a Witcher, to be clear. Throw it at the Witcher.
Trying to recruit some mercenaries into
Yes,
Salisbury.
you mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm prepared to commit 20 libra to this endeavor.
Oh, that's good monies. That'll get you a small mercenary band for sure. Well, can I have you make a battle roll?
Okay, I'm not that great at that.
Don't
Although,
do it.
actually-
Don't do it.
I did know. I hired a battle expert into my last year into my manor.
Nice.
Yeah, a patron to a
Does
seed
that-
master.
Does that prevent you from the effects of a fumble?
No, but it just means I can roll on his skill, not mine.
Okay. I don't know that that'll make the difference observationally with the way things have gone tonight, but good luck.
All right. I was gonna. He's got a skill of 15, so I'm gonna roll the d20 that he got on my sheet.
Okay.
4 under 15.
You roll a 4. Solid. What a great number. Absolute success. Go ahead and check mark that.
Okay.
Spoon, that's how it's done, by the way. If you want to earn a check mark, you have to
Oh,
normally you have to succeed.
Let me replace that. That would be my battle roll because my battle's 15. I've hired a siege master for the siege skill. But yes, that would be my battle roll then, which is still a success because it's still 15.
You still get a check mark in it.
Listen,
Yeah.
AP,
Yes.
I've had 2 rolls tonight,
Yeah.
and I've hit a natural 20 on both of them.
Yeah.
If
I
we
know.
were playing
I
any
was
other
there.
system, I would be killing it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, maybe not that new Dragon Blood tabletop RPG where you want a 1 and a 20 is called dragoning it. That would be bad
Yeah.
for you. In most other RPGs, nailing 20s would have been great rather than horrible. Unfortunately, you're not playing those other games. You're playing this
That's true.
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of mercenaries are you looking for? You know, Spoon has specifically hired horsemen to ride with him. I don't know if you're looking to get like a large group of untrained peasants to act as spearmen, or whether you want like an elite shock squad of people who go up over the walls with you during a siege, or if you're looking for like a small group of sword masters.
I think I'm just looking for some. I think infantry, like sword infantry, in order to help either in the defense of Salisbury, or if we do campaign to join our armed forces. Like so, not just peasant levies as such, like trained men.
Looking
you
for
know,
sergeants.
Yeah, probably what most of these people would be people that have grown up with the current wars against the Saxons and have battlefield experience. So they might have started as peasant levies, but they've been in enough battles now they are considered experienced and have better equipment and armor, and the right to command money for their services.
Would you say, in the equivalent of modern military parlance, what you're looking for is like experienced NCOs of a lower rank? You know, like an E4 or an E5 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like an E5 in command.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're not looking for a command sergeant major. You're looking for a guy who works for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could probably get
Rock.
the E4 Mafia. Yeah. I think you can get 2 lances. So let's call it 10 men with officers of mercenaries who sign themselves to you. Do you have a name for this, or would you like to also get something like the Bright Plains Riders?
I'm happy to take whatever they want to refer to themselves as.
Well, shit. I was hoping you had a name. I cooked on Bright Plains Riders, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to cook on like that again. Let's call them the Sons of Devon.
Yeah.
The county, not a guy named Devon. They're not all the son of a guy named Devon.
It's 25 brothers.
They are all... Oh, yes, they are all bastards who fled from Devon when Cornwall advanced. And now, yes, they're all brothers of the same noble lord who just had tons of wars. And they've... Okay, so now we've devolved a Game of Thrones level of just like dirt. Yep, the Sons of Devon. So these guys are probably like chainmail or worse, and like good sword, probably like a second sword. They're not, they're not like mounted or anything. Part of their cost goes to hiring them, and then of course they expect payment for, I don't want to say ransom, but like they want a share of the loot at the end of any battle, sort of deal. Yeah. We'll talk about whatever the rehiring cost every year for them will be after I've thought about it for a little while, but part of their payment is, sheltering them, right? They get to sleep in a castle and have a bed and eat food without having to pay for all of that, which considerably brings down their yearly costs. Cool.
And the next time that old mate wants to come back and complain about how we treated him, I'll make sure they're in the room.
But they shouldn't be holding swords in the Countess's hall.
No. But they are still they're physically present.
I don't know. I think the Ceylon's aura is good enough that they'll have to fall to one knee and go, his bloodlust is unbelievable. Listen, I had to Google so much about aura farming today. I'm convinced that I think technically Piccolo appeared first, timeline-wise, but in terms of what I watched, because, I have a younger sister, for me, Tuxedo Mask is the first aura emitter that I ever encountered. So I think that's the icon. He does a thing where he stands on top of streetlights, and even though there's no wind, his cape billows behind him, and he doesn't do anything. He just goes, my work here is done. 100% that's my understanding of how aura works, which means Tuxedo Mask is the original aura farmer. And then Piccolo came shortly after that. Not like original Piccolo, like Piccolo in between the point where he starts raising Gohan and defeating everybody on Namek.
Yeah.
And that weird period where people are like, sure, you're a war criminal who tried to destroy the world, but for some reason we're cool with you even though you aren't God yet. Wow, Dragon Ball is fucked up universe. All right.
Can I argue for a check-in vengeful because of my feelings for Sir Helifor?
You know what? Let's make a vengeful roll to see if you actually are vengeful. Let's see if you can muster that up, and if successful.
Success.
It is successful. Go ahead and take a check in that. You'll never forget how you were treated this day. Beyond the walls.
You and I are gonna have to talk.
Okay, just remember, you've already paid this man. It would be super dishonorable to betray him.
I'm sure. It would.
Okay. So I just want to remind you, accidents can happen, but outright murder would be seen as extremely dishonorable.
Sure.
Okay.
People fall off of walls, castle walls all the time.
It does unusually happen, especially to people residing in or around Salisbury.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to do before that end of year feast?
How much did I get? How much did I make? So it was me, all of my household knights, Hayden, and then the Bright Plains Riders.
Let's say 2d6 plus 2 pounds. And of course, they all made individual money from their own ransoms and such. Wow, 8. It was a great battle for you. You killed a bunch of fucking people and took their equipment.
I mean, but,
just to be clear, you did
happen to be Manteliots.
You absolutely have to replace your armor and shield in the process, and you do with stuff from the battlefield spoils. But you absolutely fucked your equipment during your insane charge. Yeah, they're going to talk about that the same way they talk about Thoros of Myr, but with murdering friendlies as part of it, rather than... And he went through the gate, and it's the most crazy thing I ever saw. You make it to the Christmas court this year. Everyone is talking about London is Saxon now. Disaster is creeping your way. Cornwall is advancing through Jagant. The Saxons are advancing into Hampshire and further west. Nanteliode is advancing from the north. It looks like Salisbury and maybe Ridichan, and to some extent, Somerset are the only free lands left. Huntington's down, Hertford's down, Escavalion, Gloucester, Wences, all British words I didn't pronounce right, all of them
Gloucester.
fall into some nominal enemy or another. It would seem the time is coming rapidly for the Countess to decide whether independence will be the thing that she desires, or whether she wants to swear to a king of Cornwall, a king of Wales, or the king of the Saxons. These three powers are surrounding the free lands of Salisbury. So it's actually like a super dark winter. Losses on every front. Kendrick's insanity is definitely remarked upon. Kyned's losses aren't remarked upon as much because almost everyone's talking about how the Baron just fucking dead. And what's gonna happen? Like, he doesn't have an heir, so like, what's happening to all of these estates that he took on the north? And he has a huge business empire. Sir Paul is basically stepping in temporarily. He was the marshal, so now there's no marshal for the lands. And the great time to not have a marshal is when, when you're actually under threat from three directions, rather than when you're in a time of peace for 5 years. So now there's a hunt for a new marshal. What do you guys want to do at the feast? What's going on with you?
I think
I would go and find Kendric.
okay.
I'm sorry about your liege lord.
Yes, it's a I don't know that we were ever really friends, or if we were ever going to be friends, but he was a valuable person to the Countess and to the county. And for that, I'm sorry that he is dead.
In case you didn't know, the architect of your castle betrayed London. He admitted it to me gleefully while I was captured. If I had not been tied down, I would have stabbed him to death and destroyed his plans at the cost of my own life.
He told me as much as well when he came back to work on my castle. He's has a contract with me for the next 2 years. This year and the next one.
I understand. That said, I don't know that you can trust that he's not going to just sell your plans to the Saxons so that they know how to take your walls down.
Yes, he has certainly made it so he is an undesirable architect. I have to think about what to do with that, should the Saxons ever come knocking on my doors.
At the fall of London, I fear that's more and more likely. I'm going to ask the Countess if I can put palisades around Laverstock this winter.
I think that would be wise. And is this conversation, are we like private?
Yes.
Okay. And I think he says, I love the Countess, but I think you should do that regardless of whether or not you have her permission. I do not think she would begrudge more walls in Salisbury.
I don't expect her to say no, but we had prohibition for so long, I feel it is at least the polite thing to do.
Yes, definitely ask first, but
Yes.
Protecting your family is.
Should you decide to change paths, shall we say, with your architect, you know, if you need any help.
Very well. I will be sure to do so.
But definitely watch what happens with the plans.
I think we head back into the feast.
Okay. James, you got anything you want to do here?
I don't think so. I think that I want to. I don't want to roll the dice. I'm rolling any dice today.
Oh my god! I can't
James has
believe
had
what
one
this has
roll.
done to you guys.
And he's 100% successful so far.
No, I failed a passion roll before.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that this Christmas, it's just a Gwgan lays low, probably introduces his mercenary commander to his allies. But yeah, they're more here for Salisbury than for his own estate. So there'll be a common face. There'll be common faces in court for a while.
Yes. Your mercenary commander, his name is Cedric.
Okay.
Some people say that he's a really great guy to be around. They call him... You okay, Spoon? You ready for this?
I am ready.
They call him Cedric the Entertaining.
I think one of the things Kendric is doing at this feast is the Baron's knights who survived. He is talking to them, feeling them out for basically like stepping in, not necessarily stepping into the Baron's position, because I don't think Kendric wants that amount of responsibility, but he definitely wants a few more vassal knights.
Interesting. That is really interesting. I will ask for a roll at -5, a courtesy roll, to basically snipe control of these knights.
Sure. -5.
Yes. Because it's... Honestly, it's a little uncourteous to basically, like...
I mean, yeah,
I'm
sure.
not saying it's not done. It's just,
I mean,
you're moving quickly.
It's desperate times.
Yes.
London has fallen. We are...
Some say the bridges of London have fallen down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be rebuilt a bunch of times over the years.
There's the only things left standing between us and the Saxons now is Silchester. Ooh, could I? Nah, I don't think I can bring my suspicious Silchester into this.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. But I always appreciate the hustle.
Because I'm like, I just realized it's
These
like,
people
oh, hey.
all live so far west, they've never even been to Silchester.
Yeah,
You're Silchester could betray us. They're going to be like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that.
So, yeah. Because Kendric is just like, oh shit, the road here, it goes through Silchester. They would definitely just stand aside and let the Saxons pass. That's a success.
You think the people of Silchester wouldn't the peasants of Silchester wouldn't give their lives to protect your lands?
Not with a suspicion of Silchester 11.
I definitely think the tower on the river at Duplains is definitely getting, the local mayor is checking to make sure there's enough in the budget to kind of reinforce that bad boy.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, remember when you hired those mercenaries away?
Not a
good time for them to be losing local defense.
That was a few years ago. But
I think that 5 of his knights basically go to count. You convince them they go to Ellen, and she agrees that they can move there. their liegeness through you to her still.
Okay.
That they believe that you will be a noble and just defender of them and help provide for them. And they re-swear their estates to your cause. The remainder are waiting for whoever gets assigned a baron. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So the whole, what's now being called the Northern March, is basically like completely undefended. Sir Paul does swear to you, which means that he will be basically acting as kind of like the point of contact for everybody up north. And he is the Lord of, I believe it's Chevrel Magna.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head. I'll have to double check my notes, but well, friends, we didn't get an entire year in, but for all the fucking shit that happened in this episode, we still got through most of a year. And next time,
I want to call that a good effort. I want to acknowledge
we had a
Arthur's,
great effort.
But,
So many 20s.
I
Absolutely
do. Before we finish the feast, Kyned does want to ask Ellen, and we don't have to play it out if it's just a yes, but ask Ellen if he can, with the fall of London, if he's able to get her permission to put a palisade around Laverstock. I already have a ditch and moat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, she says yes. You don't need to make any rules there. She just lets you know that, if an attack comes in the next year or so, it's not going to be finished before. This is thinking long term. In the short term, your people, if you bring more work crews in to build it, you should probably be prepared to house them inside when the enemy comes.
They still have to go through Duplain and Pitton to get to you, so.
I mean, these people just attacked London using boats. Nothing is going to stop them from crossing that river. Also, they could just go north. Nothing's stopping them from just going north and marching over the fields.
Yeah.
Duplain is
Silchester isn't going to do it.
It's not some sort of magical lodestone that draws Saxon armies towards it. Also, they could just go south down the road of what's eventually going to be called Camelot and just attack South Salisbury from a completely different direction. There's a road down there that doesn't go through Duplain.
That goes into Wessex.
Yeah, but Wessexians are Saxons, and AL is the Bretwalda of all Saxons right now. Could be rough times ahead. We'll see how strong that alliance is.
Yeah.
I'm
really
like you're questioning things.
Well, no, I was just thinking because it was like, if I remember right, Ulfius was like buddy with Aella, and he was like paying him tribute every year.
But the Sussex did not attack him.
It
was Kent and Essex.
Yeah. Well, but they should have been protecting him. Should they not have?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy because
it's wild, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy because you guys pay Sussex as well.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's crazy, man. Anything could happen at this point. Wow.
So
one episode. Are we good for next week?
I think the episode title should be Natural 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's rough.
Do we have any business we need to announce as well?
Business.
I don't know. Sometimes people have announcements, like Glimo says, I've got a stream. James, didn't you just release a new video about your BattleTech unboxing? What if people wanted to hear about GrimDarkJames at GrimDark Podcast doing?
Well, they wouldn't find it there because it's set to it's set to private, private, like the thing where it's
buddy. I tried.
It's unlisted. No, but they can see it through your Discord. If they go to your Discord on the BattleTech channel, that's where they can see it.
I thought I made a post on my YouTube.
Well, if you did, you did. Okay, but I'm just saying it was unlisted on. It won't appear on my because I don't want to offend all those Blood Bowl players who don't like BattleTech.
And then you know what else you can find on the Discord? If you subscribe to the APGamingREAL Patreon, you get access to the Patreon channel on Discord, and you can learn about all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes.
Wow, thanks. I really appreciate you, a Patreon member, shilling for me, the Patreon owner.
It looks like a Turtles convinced Soundwaves Ghost to try and record your Fallout campaign too and
Oh,
put it
we'll
online.
see. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why
At
he
the
wouldn't just use OBS, but yeah, I guess we could get him RAWs of the audio data. I don't know that that's going to be the best. Our group is really bad at making decisions. That's all I'm going to say. It's not what I would call recording quality level of gameplay.
People like seeing you play AP.
I agree.
Even when you play badly, especially when you play badly.
Wow, that brutal. It's also, I'm not sure I want to hear that from any of you tonight. Not that you played badly, but you guys rolled badly for sure.
That's it.
two episodes in a row, I can't buy a roll.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The amount of fumbles you have had, Glimo, in the past 2 episodes is the majority of the fumbles that have happened in the past 2 episodes, which has been significant.
Right.
I don't think it's fair to say you can't buy roll. Arthur has previously been very clear he's open to bribery.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Don't you know about the secret Roll20 premium unlock system where you can literally buy rolls?
Tower Bridge, James, is the name of that bridge you posted.
Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say that's a common mistake.
Yeah. Well, and so because when I visited London, I stayed in a hostel on, I think it's like High Street or whatever, which is literally just down the street from the actual London Bridge, which is a modern bridge.
From like the 1900s.
It's just a bridge.
Like the one that James posted is the one that everybody thinks is London Bridge, but it's actually Tower Bridge because it's right across from the White Tower.
Is this on Discord or something?
Yeah,
it's on the cast chat.
I was not sure what this was in reference to.
Yeah. The actual London Bridge is literally just like, it looks like a modern bridge.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the month, I will be participating in the Twitch Artisan Makers raid train. 200 of the folks from the Artisan Makers Club are each going to be doing 30-minute segments. And so Saturday the 24th from 8:30 to 9 a.m., I'll be on stream doing stuff.
He's a maker who's making.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really like how you guys have just co-opted the word maker. It is incredible. I think Salty, I don't remember what his name is. We're really bad about that. I haven't seen him around in a while. But yeah, like Salty, the guy who posts on food recipes and used to show up for survival servers, is also in the maker community. I'd never heard of it until the two of you started talking about it, and I looked it up, and yeah, just a bunch of people stole the name maker community, and it is just about making stuff. It doesn't seem to have any restrictions on what you're making.
What was the maker community? What was it before?
Nothing.
Oh,
but they've taken the name maker.
Well, then did they steal it or did they claim it?
Listen,
The
only thing you're allowed to claim are the only things you're allowed to claim are land with a flag and co-host status on the intro hour
with the presentation.
Yes, with the presentation. You have to do a presentation. Hey, my understanding is that if I can make it back in time on Monday, and it's starting to look like I will, your wife is going to do a presentation so that she can beat Lawson in presentation count and become the true co-host. She wishes to wield the sword Caliburn to be selected as the true king of co-hosting.
Yeah. It's an interactive presentation as well. The audience.
I wish it was less interactive. I've seen the presentation, and I'm not sure I'm going to like the outcome of it. Gentlemen,
just to go back to your earlier question about next week, mine is it's Mother's Day here. My wife hasn't yet told me that I need to be available for that, but I had to cancel a game in the afternoon after this game, so I'm just clearing out that it might be my wife might tell me to decide.
James, what if we just say no now, and you surprise her with your availability?
She
Wow.
doesn't deserve
Okay.
that.
All right. Shut that idea down. All right. I'm good. I'm not shaken by that.
She has to ask for it.
Okay. Listen, you're married. I'm not. You know better than me. I guess I do have a mom. Wow, what a comment to leave the show on. Is that the end screen? Wow, crazy.